All-star on the court. He's had more than his share of controversy off of it, however. Tony Cox takes a look at the trials and tribulations of the Denver Nuggets point guard in tonight's First Word.
Around Stoudemire. Tough rule. That's the only move he had.
He's going to shoot another three. He knows what he's doing. He made it. He's got 8 3-pointers.
There were some good times for Nick Van Exel in Los Angeles, but they were often overshadowed by controversy off the court, sometimes not very far off the court, like in 1996 when he bumped a referee in Denver and the nationally televised spat with Coach Del Harris in Game 4 of the Lakers' 1997 playoff series against Utah. Despite his stormy relationship with Harris, Van Exel responded with an all-star year in 1998, leading the Lakers to 61 regular season wins. But things fell apart in the postseason again when Van Exel was branded with the tag that all athletes hate, that he quit on his teammates.
From 1 through, 15, the coaching staff included, we all wanted to win the series just as bad as the fans did, so it just doesn't make any sense.
Van Exel's ill-timed chant of Cancun, Cancun during a playoff loss to Utah last May, whether a joke or not, sealed his fate in L.A. After 5 years, the Lakers felt a change had to be made, and a few weeks later, it was.
We really thought we needed to make a change. Not so much talent, but maybe chemistry-wise, it might give us a little bit better opportunity to grow as a team.
Unfortunately for Van Exel, it wasn't so much a change as a banishment. He was sent to the vast wasteland of the NBA, Denver, where the Nuggets were coming off yet another losing season. And then in December, faced with the prospect of not playing at all due to the NBA lockout, Van Exel found himself in the headlines again when he demanded to be released so that he could play in Europe. But once the lockout ended, Van Exel began to pay immediate dividends for the Nuggets. His agent, Tony Dudd, also represents Antonio McDyess, and that was a crucial factor in the young superstar's surprising decision to leave Phoenix to return to Denver. Unfortunately, it's been all downhill since then. Despite Van Exel's average of 7 assists and nearly 16 points per game, Denver's 8-23 record includes 15 straight road losses this season, making them the NBA's only winless team on the road. Denver's high hopes were shattered by the season-ending injury to their star rookie, Raef LaFrentz, and they've been struggling ever since. And so has Van Exel. Even though he scored a season-high 29 points Tuesday night, reports out of Denver say the Nuggets don't plan to re-sign him, which means another fresh start somewhere else next year. Jim?
Glad to be here, my man.
How you doing, Nick?
Pretty good.
Tell you what, you came into Denver, high expectations this year. You and Dice got there at the same time. You had that big draft pick with Raef LaFrentz. Unfortunately, the expectations were there, but things haven't really worked out the way everybody had hoped so far.
No, it hadn't. I think with the injury of Raef, it really set us back. But, I think we're playing pretty good. We're just not winning games at the end. I think we give ourselves a chance to win ball games, and we just don't come up with them. But I think that's a good sign since we're a very young team and we hadn't been together for that long of a period.
Nick, tell me about going to Denver. Now, when the Lakers traded you, it couldn't have been real easy. I mean, you went from a team that won 62 to a team that won 11 games last year. Your competitiveness has always been one of your strengths. It couldn't have been real easy to go over there initially.
I think I got over that like the first couple of hours after the trade. I was at a Mexican restaurant in Palm Springs eating, and I found out I'd been traded to Denver, and it was just a shock at that time. But after a couple of hours, I thought about it, and I said I wanted to be out of L.A., so I think it'd be the best thing for me.
Yeah, but you had to chill, didn't you? You needed a little bit of time in Palm Springs to kind of process the whole thing and kind of kick it around a little bit, didn't you?
Actually, I was on my way back from Palm Springs at the time, on my way back into L.A., and then that's when I found out.
All right, so you find out about the trade. It might have been a shock to go to Denver, but, hey, Nick, you know Jerry West. I mean, if he was going to trade you, he wasn't going to drop you in Houston. He wasn't going to drop you in Utah where you could do some damage. If he was going to move you, he was going to put you in a bad situation, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah, and I'm just glad, Denver is not a bad place at all. I've heard a lot of great things about it from a lot of people, in the summertime before myself coming to here. And it's been great. The fans have been supportive, the fans that do come to the arena. And the players, we play hard, 110% all the time. And it's just going to get better for us here.
Is the losing hard, Nick? Have the losses taken their toll at all?
There are times when, you know, you think about losing and you think about how it was when you were winning, but, you know, it's all part of just who you are and how you handle it and what's your response to it. And I think, you know, myself, I think I'm going to be fine with it. You know, I've never had a losing season like this in a long time, so I think when the time comes when we start winning ball games, it's going to be like night and day.
Now, will you be there when that happens? You're in the option year right now, Nick, of your contract. Have there been any discussions, and do you want to stay in Denver?
Do I want to stay in Denver? I would like to stay in Denver just for the simple fact that, you know, I begged Antonio to come here, and he came here. So I think it would be wrong for me to leave him, you know, knowing he's here right now. I don't think that would be, you know, being a true friend.
All right, so you and Dice are together. Hey, what about the team? Nick, are they happy with you? Do they want you to stay in Denver?
The management or the players?
Management.
Management, I've heard nothing but good things from them. But, you know, I can trust these guys. I think I can. And, you know, that's all I can say right now. At the end of the season, you know, we'll just go from there. But hopefully I can be a Denver Nugget.
How about the fellas? Do you feel the respect of your teammates? Do you feel like they want you there, too?
I think the team, we get along great. Guys are always talking, doing things off the court with one another, and that's a good sign. I think everybody respects one another around here.
Hey, Nick, tell me about the LA Lakers. When the team got beat by the Utah Jazz in the playoffs last season, they sent you to Denver at that point. They were looking for a scapegoat. They pretty much put the blame on you, didn't they?
Yeah, but I was pretty much used to it, so it really didn't bother me. You know, a couple of years earlier, it probably would have bothered me, but then, you know, I said, anytime we lose, I just point the finger at myself. You know, I just took it on myself because I knew that was going to happen.
Nick, why do you think that they fingered you? Why was it always your fault?
I don't have a clue. I don't have a clue. I still don't have an answer for that.
Yeah, then you see Del Harris, and Del Harris started this year off, and he got fired 12 games in. You know, you guys didn't get along real well. Obviously, Nick, they decided last year it was either you or him, and as it turns out, it was both. Do you look at that situation right now and say, hey, I didn't have to go, the coach is gone?
I think I thought about that like a couple times because people had called me. They were saying that, you know, instead of getting rid of you, they could have got rid of Dale sooner. But, you know, that's just how it is. They made the move, and, you know, I think, you know, everybody's happy now. I'm happy in Denver, and the Lakers are definitely happy with the team that they have right now, and wish them much success.
Hey, Nick, take me back to the playoffs. Did you quit on your teammates in the playoff series?
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. I can't believe that anybody would say that about me, especially Jerry West. I hope he didn't say it. I hadn't heard that he said it, but, you know, that was just stupid for anybody to even say that.
Hey, Nick, you were hurt by that. You were bothered by that. For instance, you and Jerry West had a real good relationship, and when he traded you, he even said that was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. But you think that he thinks that you quit, and you don't like that, do you?
I don't like it at all. I just think that, you know, Jerry West, you know, anytime we had talks in his office, he's always saying that, you know, I reminded him so much of him with my attitude and my competitiveness, and for him to say that I gave up, so that means he's given up on his teams before him, which I don't believe that, so I don't feel that he should say that about me.
Hey, Nick, what about the Cancun chant? Was that not a way of throwing in the towel?
Cancun chant was, I come in the locker room, I tell guys all the time, well, I'll see you guys, it's my last game here. I say things like that all the time. They know how I am. Cancun was officially over with at the time I made that comment. It's just, like I said before, it's just another excuse.
All right, so in other words, for those who don't know, you were saying coming out of a break, Cancun, Cancun, Cancun instead of the Lakers, and you've always maintained that, hey, I'm trying to keep guys loose. It's a joke. It's something to laugh at. Did your teammates think it was funny, though? I mean, what about Shaquille? Shaquille was supposed to be upset about that. Did he not see that as a joke, though?
Well, I didn't know I didn't know anybody was upset about it until I heard about it in the papers, so I really didn't pay much attention to it.
I tell you what, if they thought you were a disruption, Nick, what about Dennis Rodman?
I don't know. It's amazing some of the things that they let him get away with, but, you know, when he plays, when he's on the court, you know, they're a great team, and I just can't see anybody beating them right now. Only toughest team I can see coming close to be Portland. Portland give them a good time in the series right now.
Hey, Nick, when you were on the team, things kind of changed. When Kobe came in and Shaq came in, the offense changed. I mean, you're a point guard. You need the basketball. You need to create. You need to be active. Did you find yourself losing interest because you bring the ball up, lob the ball into the post, and then you stand around a little bit? You couldn't really get off, could you, down the stretch?
I think the most frustrating part was, that I know I could have made Shaq, you know, a better player also. You know, he's already a great player. You know, when you have a point guard who can penetrate and dish the ball and kick the ball off to open players, you make their game easier. But, you know, I wasn't able to do that. So, you know, that was a little bit frustrating for me.
What about the chemistry? For instance, you got Kobe, who needs the ball. You have Shaq, who needs the ball. Glenn Rice has to get his touches. Nick, you were there. You understand the chemistry of that team. Over the long haul, are Kobe and Shaq going to have trouble coexisting, do you think?
Do I think? I don't know. That's a tough question. I think if Kobe just going to let Shaq have that spotlight, I think they'll be fine. Kobe's the type of guy, he just wants to win. He's a guy who comes in, practice early, leaves late. He works on his game all the time. He's going to be a great player. But Shaq, you know, we'll see. It's going to be tough because both of those guys are spotlight, guys who love the spotlight, and it's going to be tough.
Yeah, in other words, is there enough spotlight? I mean, when it all shakes down, who's going to be the man?
Well, they're in Hollywood. I think they got a lot of Hollywood studios out there, so one can have one end and the other can have the other.
Hey, Nick, you know, it's kind of funny about you and Dell. You guys might not have gotten along down the stretch, and ultimately you both had to go. But your first year together, you guys were good. I mean, you got off to a real good start, didn't you?
Yeah, you know, I contributed, you know, that season to Dell. You know, he got Player of the Year. I thought that was my best year being in the league, my second year, and I just don't know what happened after that. I don't know. I think maybe the suits and the Hollywood and all the cameras and everything got to him or something. I don't know what it was.
Do you think dude went Hollywood? You think you won that Coach of the Year award and then things changed?
That's what I hear. A lot of people said that. A lot of people said they can tell by the change in his demeanor on the sideline, but, you know, you never know.
Hey, Nick, when Derek Fisher was playing alongside of you, you had the problems with your knees, and then you came back, and then he was still starting, and you let him start. Why would a guy as competitive as you let him start?
The only reason I did that is because Derek was a guy who, at the time, was losing his confidence here and there. You know, there were ups and downs, and I figured if I came back and he was still starting, he would keep his confidence. I'm going to be a player who's going to have the confidence out on the court all the time. And I said, for us to be a better team, if he has his confidence and I have my confidence, you know, our backcourt is going to be pretty much, you know, unstoppable. And it didn't work out that way. So
it wasn't a matter of you losing interest. You were just trying to be a good team guy.
I was, and I paid for it. You know, I know next time not to do that, not to try to be nice.
And he also was saying that he felt that while you were in Los Angeles, you never really enjoyed it, that you didn't like being under the microscope, you didn't like the hype, and now that you're away from it, you're better off because of it. Is that true? Do you feel that way?
I was a guy who really didn't like the Hollywood thing. I just like to play ball. You know, I was asked to do movies and things like that. But, you know, my persona was, I thought that, you know, I would want to win a championship before I got off into all of that. You know, I thought basketball was the reason why I was in L.A., was the reason why I'm Nick Van Exel and all that. So I figured basketball was my first priority, and I wanted to win the championship before I did anything. So I thought me doing all the other extracurricular activities, it wouldn't help me. So that's the reason why I shied away from a lot of the things that I turned away. But if I had to do it all over again, I probably would stick to basketball first until I won a championship.
Now, I get that. In fact, I sat with Bob Huggins at the Final Four, and he was going out of his way to say, look, Nick is not a big party guy. Nick's not a big club guy. Nick wants to ball, and I get that. Except one time you once said, you know, it might even be better to play for the Clippers so I can get away from all the hype. And, Nick, look, nobody wants to play for the Clippers, right? I mean, you didn't mean that, did you?
Be honest with you, I think the Clippers have a great team. I don't know what it is about them, but I think they have a pretty good team. They have a lot of talent. You know, I think they would have been fine if they could have got a coach like George Karl in there this year, who I thought was going to go there. I thought they would have been a good team if he would have went there. I don't know what their problem is, but they have a lot of talent.
All right, from Los Angeles to Denver, Nick Van Exel, point guard with the Nuggets, finally tracked him down, got him on the last word. It's about time, Nick. I appreciate you finally coming on. It's good to rap with you, get kind of caught up on things. Always good to talk to you, Nick. Thanks a lot.
Coach Lucas said what's up, too, buddy.
All right, Nick. Good talking to you. Thanks a lot. All right, Nicky V.